on your lineups for maximum point. You might have somebody faster that you might have to leave behind, but because they can't score as many points. And talk about the philosophy that you guys put together, like a game plan.
Sure. I think the game plan for us is always trying to take everything into consideration. So the relays are probably the piece that comes into the most. And there are rules that you can only swim a certain number of events. So if you're going to swim the maximum of 3 individual events, you can only be on 4 relays. So Gabby, for example, she will swim 3 individual events, the 50 free, the 100 free, and the 100 fly. So she can only be on 4 relays instead of all 5. So there is a little bit of finagling, I guess you could say, that goes around. And at the end of the day, we tell the swimmers this, that we're just trying to put together the fastest relay that we possibly can, right? So in our sport, every little tenth matters. So we're just trying to, if somebody can be a 10th faster here, and sometimes there's a little math, if we move this person to this spot or a relay exchange, that might be a little bit different. But we've been very successful at this meet, being able to be at our very best, especially on our relays. I'm really looking forward to that. I feel like we have a really good opportunity to break some school records, and our school records are from relays that have been top 3 in the country at different point in times with some of our alumni. And so that's really excited to do it as a group. And we'll see how that all comes together. But really looking forward to that piece of it and just trying to be the best versions of ourselves at the end of the day.
Is there anybody you think will raise some eyebrows that we haven't quite seen their best yet?
Really good question. Honestly, I think this is where we've shined. It was actually yesterday, Swim Swam, which is kind of like the swimming news outlet that focuses most on us, put out an article. And historically, over the last 3 or 4 seasons, we have been the best team by far in the entire country to outscore the kind of predictions. I know it doesn't necessarily translate to some other sports typically, but it would kind of be like creating an upset. So I think on average, we've been 60 points over our seed. So I think we really go in there and overall shock the world a little bit, and try to be the very best that we can be. So, obviously the 2 you've already talked to with Gabby and Liberty, they've got a good chance, but I think the sophomore class, certainly they had a much different world last year with being a freshman during the pandemic. And so they have the experience under their belt through some pretty challenging times last spring. And a number of them did have COVID in January of last year. So they had already missed some time in the pool. So I'm really excited to see what they can do. And at the end of the day, just be the best version of ourselves. That's all we can ask of them, and see if we can do some things exciting in Atlanta, just like we've done before.
One thing, just last question talk about this. I call it the streak of having at least one NCAA champion dating back till Carlos Almeida. What is that, 9 years straight now, I believe?
10. So Carlos was actually in my class. So I am an alumni and graduated in 2012, and Carlos won our senior year. So every year since 2012, we've had an NCAA champion, and there's only 2 other programs in the country that can claim the same thing. So it's in really elite company, and I think at this point, I hope and I think the way we talk about it with our athletes is just the confidence that you can do it. It doesn't need to be this pressure situation, and it's certainly not just on one person, but that's certainly been something that's been an amazing feat, I guess you could say. And obviously there's a couple kids, if you're ranked in the top 8 or so in the country, there's a legitimate shot of winning a national title. So we'll see what we can do. It would certainly be fun. That gets me out of bed in the morning and gets me excited, and maybe the heart rate goes up just a little bit when some of those things are. But that's the fun part of what we do, and so certainly to join the likes of Carlos Almeida, Joao DeLuca, Kelsey Worrell, Mallory Comerford, and then obviously Nick Albiero in our relay crew last year. That was an exciting thing, and would be awesome if we could get another one on the women's side this year. But at the end of the day, we just go out there and can't control what anybody else does. We just try to go swim fast.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
I think that does it.
Awesome. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks, Jody.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if he's still on or not, but appreciate it.